You're about to listen to a Metal Express Radio exclusive interview. Head on over to metalexpressradio.com for our latest rock and metal interviews. And while you're there, check out our web radio, read our reviews, and rock and metal news. Enjoy the interview.
Hey, this is Mick Burgess. I'm now backstage at the Cluny with Scott Ian from Anthrax. Scott, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Great, thanks. You picked a great time to come over to England. You must have brought the sun with you for the last few days.
We were. I was actually in Spain this weekend with Anthrax, playing the Sonosphere Festival, and so I guess we brought the sunshine back with us because last week, I was out here doing these talking shows all week, and it rained 6 days in a row. So something changed.
Thank goodness for that. You're a few dates into your spoken word tour. How have they been going so far?
It's been great. It's look, put it this way. I started with no expectations at all. I understand that people really have no idea what they're getting themselves into if they buy a ticket to this show. So for anyone to come out, they're really taking a risk coming to see me. I feel like. Well, of course, I know what it's about, so I know it isn't a risk. But if you're just someone who knows who I am from my band and you see an advertisement for a thing that says Scott Ian speaking words, you're not going to have any idea what you're really getting yourself into. So to actually spend some money on that when you probably already spent some money going to you're going to download, or maybe you bought tickets for Bloodstock in August, or so I had zero expectations. And it's been great. I've been playing the right size rooms. It's my first time ever doing this. I'm playing rooms like this size. Some were bigger, and I'm filling them up, and that's all that matters. If 5 people showed up, I would have felt the same way about it. Granted, no promoters probably would have ever had me back, but people have been really, really receptive, and I think at the end of the evening, have a very good understanding of what they've gotten themselves into, and I think are very excited to tell other people about it, which is obviously a good thing.
So what made you want to do it? I think you referred to it as speaking words to it. So what made you want to do that?
It just fell into my lap last year. I got an offer to do a one-off in London at the beginning of November before we started our tour with Motorhead here in the UK, and I just said yes to it without even really thinking about it, because I had 4 months to kind of figure out what I was going to do, and because I always had a curiosity about it, having seen Rollins in the past, and how a lot of my friends are stand-up comedians, and it's just something I felt like I could do. I've done a lot of hosting of things. I've hosted the Kerrang Awards for 7 or 8 years in a row, and I've just done a lot of little things that made me feel like I could stand in front of an audience and entertain them. Yeah. So it was that curiosity, and so I felt that one-off went so well, and I had so much fun doing it. I immediately said to my agent that night, I want to do more of these. Can you book more shows? And that's how the tour came together.
Yeah. After touring the world with Anthrax and the trucks and the planes and the equipment, it must be quite refreshing to sort of just sling on a backpack and travel light.
Well, yes and no. I've got my own bag, so does Mark, and then we've got 2 big cases with merch in it, and we're schlepping all this stuff around England. If we had one more pair of hands right now, getting on and off trains and planes and whatnot, it would probably make our lives a lot easier. But like I said, it's my first time, so
next time, though.
Yeah, next time we'll bring a helper monkey with us. Yeah. And by monkey, I literally mean an actual monkey.
Yeah. So what sort of format does the show take? Do you tell stories on the road, or do you have videos, and do you pick up your guitar and play a couple of acoustic tunes as well?
No guitar. No, I think that would have been too expected and too, I hate to say it, but cliche, because that's not what this is about at all. I'm not a singer-songwriter chap. Nobody wants to hear me sing, let's put it that way. So no, it's me. Yeah, I'm telling stories. There are photos, and there is a short little video that sets up one of the stories, and but yeah, it's stories from my life, stuff from when I was a kid, and then obviously a lot of stuff having to do with things that happened to me, the formative years of Anthrax, and where people I've known, that would be very interesting to, like people like Daryl from Pantera, who, people are very interested, of course, his story, and I was friends with Daryl, and so I've got a pretty cool tale to tell about him, and so yeah, just a lot of stuff from my life.
And did you have to sort of do much preparation in advance, or have you sort of done it off the cuff really as you've gone along?
No, that's the thing. That initial show I did, I had 4 months, and I had this grand idea that I was going to like write a show and rehearse it for my friends at my house, and I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing. I did so much nothing that the night before that show in London, I was going to call my agent and cancel and lie and say I had the flu because I didn't know what I was going to do. And my wife actually said, "You sit in a bar with your friends and tell stories, and it's great. And that's all you're going to be doing you're going to be in a bar telling stories. So just pretend you're just talking to your friends out there, and you'll be fine." And it's exactly what I did, and it went perfectly. Of course, now having done more of these, and then doing 6 in a row last week, I had the weekend off to go to Spain to play a couple of gigs with Anthrax, and I think having those 3 days away from it kind of sunk in a lot, because when I got back on Sunday, we flew back into England and drove to Stoke to play the gig there Sunday night. I kind of felt like I wasn't so focused on remembering everything I wanted to say. It was more so I knew everything I wanted to say, and my mind was open to actually adding to it.
Yeah.
So the last 2 shows in Stoke and last night in Manchester, I kind of felt like the first time where it's really, really at a place now where it just kind of flows now. I'm not so worried about forgetting things. It just kind of flows, and I'm able to just change little things here and there, whether it's I'm learning about delivery, I'm learning about timing. Even though these stories are my stories, there's a way to tell a story, which I'm learning now. Some 2 people could recite the exact same story to you. One could bore you to death, and one will keep you interested for 15 minutes. And I'm really learning now really how to tell a story, and that the only way I think you can really learn that is by doing it every night.
Yeah. And do the fans sort of interact with the fans, and they fire questions?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of interaction. Yeah. I do a Q&A segment as well as just throughout the show too. If I'm not promoting it that I want people to yell shit out, because that could get annoying. But sometimes people do, and sometimes it's funny, and that might take me down a road that I wasn't expecting. So I try and go with it. I try and roll with things, and not be stuck to a set list. When I get on stage.
Because you used to playing in a band with a total of 5 members. This is just you by yourself. Did you? Wow, did you feel a little bit exposed at first doing it?
That doesn't bother me. I've got definitely some kind of defect in that I'm not afraid of public speaking. Standing up there by myself really doesn't bother me at all. I have no problem having all the responsibility. If anything, I embrace it. And I enjoy it, and I have fun doing it, because it's all on me. So everything I do up there, it's all on me. If I fuck up, it's me. If I have a great show, it's me. It's just I kind of enjoy having all the responsibility. Granted, I understand that there's pressure. The fact that I'm trying to entertain people for over 2 hours just by talking to them, but the proof is in the pudding, I guess, in that I've been doing these shows and it's been working. So I haven't found an audience yet that's sat there and not laughed and been really bored and asked for their money back. That hasn't happened yet.
No, I'm sure it won't happen. Because everybody that buys a ticket gets entered into a draw, and on the night they'll win a bag of merchandise. But I think is it one winner from the whole tour that they're going for to win the guitar?
Then each winner from each show will then there'll be a drawing at the last show in London, and then we'll have five names who will actually win the 5 guitars. I tried to get them to give me 15 guitars, but they were being generous enough giving me 5 guitars to give away.
Then you'd have to carry them all as well.
No. They would just all sit somewhere and then get shipped out at the end.
Moving on to your band, a couple of years ago you released Worship Music, and that was your first with Joey Belladonna in 21 years. First of all, how did you get round to getting Joey back into the band?
It was really as simple as us having coffee in New York City and asking him if he wanted to come back and make a record and be in the band. And he said to us, "That's all I want." And it was like this, one of those moments in a movie, like, "I love you, man." Yeah. Like, it was like literally, it was that simple. And it was just one of those scenarios where the best comparison I could give you is, it's like family. You could get in a fight with someone or a relationship, and it's sometimes the easiest thing in the world. I mean, all you need to do is pick up a phone, and it could all be quashed, and everything could move forward, and everything will be fine. But picking up that phone sometimes is the hardest thing in the world to do, and that's kind of how it was until we picked up the phone, and Joey came to New York, and in over 15 minutes having coffee in New York City, the band was back together. And from that point in 2010, we've been on the best run Anthrax has ever had in our career. So it's just amazing what you can do sometimes when you fucking grow up. Yes. And I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about anyone else.
Yeah. Because you had Dan in the band for a while when you went on tour at first. So it must have been strange after all those years had passed to be back with what's regarded as the classic lineup. I mean, I'm sure it didn't feel like 20 years had passed since you last played together.
Well, we had done a reunion in 05, 06 with Joey. So, and even though that reunion didn't move forward after 06, but I think what that reunion did do for us was it opened the door for us in 2010 to truly, I think, be able to then be a band again. In 05, 06, we were kind of thrust into this thing, and no thought went into it, and we just kind of did it. And it became very difficult after a while. But it was a business decision, and generally you try not to ever make decisions based on business. A creative decision should never be based on what's right for your business sometimes. At least I know that's the opposite of the way business works, but when you're in a band, it's always been for us creative first, everything else comes second, and whether or not it means we're going to make more or less money. And that was one of the only times we ever made a decision based on we're going to make more money, but is it going to be good for our creativity? And we got through it, and for a while we did become a great band on that reunion tour, but a lot of old problems reared their heads, and we weren't able to move forward. But then 4 years later, in 2010, we were able to sit down as grown-ups again and say, look, we know what the issues are, let's put the issues on the table and let's move forward, and that's what we were able to do.
Yeah. I mean, the album sort of charted just outside the top 10 in the States. Was your highest charting album of your career?
No. Sound of White Noise was number 7. Anyway.
Yes. It must give you a lot of gratification though to know that you can come back after so long and put a record out after a lot of turmoil and still.
I personally had my expectations were so much lower. I thought we would probably come in somewhere in the top 50. Realistically, I thought we'd be somewhere in the 30s on the charts based on, I thought if we sold at least 10,000 records in the States that first week, I considered it to be a success based on where record sales are these days compared to what they were 10 years ago, and then when we sold like 31 or 32,000 records, and I think we ended at 12 or 11, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I was amazed, and all I could do was just thank the fans for staying with us and being there for us and wanting this record and connecting with the record so strongly. And at the same time, we've been pretty open about it since the record came out. We give a lot of credit to Metallica as well, because the Big Four had a lot to do with putting us back on the map in a big way, and the perception of the band really changing, and Metallica inviting us to play on that stage and putting us in front of audiences that we certainly on our own could never play in front of. So that had so much to do with it too. I mean, we played Yankee Stadium, a sold out Yankee Stadium, like the day our album came out in New York, or the day before. So, I mean, what fucking better way to promote your record than playing to 50,000 people in your hometown? I mean, it was just Metallica did a lot for us as well as far as deciding we're going to do the big four. I mean, they say this kind of thing, there's so many factors involved, luck and timing and all those things, and certainly timing had a lot to do with it this time.
Yeah, I mean, talking the big four, the recent loss of Jeff Hanneman from Slayer is a big blow to the metal world, really.
Oh, of course, absolutely. I mean, I guess outside the metal world, most people wouldn't know who he was, but for me, just on a friendship level, and this guy was my peer. He's a guy that we're the same age, and I've known him since 1985. So it's just a really shitty thing.
Yeah, big.
I had no idea he was that sick. I really had no idea.
Yeah. Is there plans to write a new album from scratch with Joey back in the band? And
absolutely, yes. We're actually going to start this summer.
Because after that album came out, you did your covers EP, which has just been released early this year, with covers of Anthems by Rush, which is a great cover, Journey, Keep On Running, Jailbreak, Big Eyes, Cheap Trick. What made you decide to do the covers record?
Nothing.
You just fancied.
We finished those songs. Cover songs in our whole career are basically songs that we already know. And if we have to do really much work, if there's any work involved, then it becomes work. And for lack of a better way to put it, cover songs are just straight up for fun for us, and generally to stave off the boredom of sound checking with our own material, or just to have fun while we're in the studio. And those songs were just a batch of songs that we've been messing around with over the last few years. They're all songs that we've all been jamming on or know since even before we were in Anthrax, because I believe all those songs are older than Anthrax. So, we know all those songs. So it was just a case of us kind of getting them together over the course of the last 2-3 years, and eventually they were finished, and we just handed them over to the label and said, do what you want with them.
I think hearing Joey sing something like Anthem by Rush and the Boston Smoking by Boston shows what a versatile singer he is. It gave him something a little bit different to sing.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of shows where he comes from, because Joey's a massive Rush fan. It's one of his favorite bands of all time. So, for him to have the opportunity to do that in the context of Anthrax, I think was really exciting for him as well.
Did you each pick a track, or did you just sort of...
No, not at all. Ideas? Like I said, these are all songs that we've just been jamming on. So, just as time was going by over the last couple of years, we just started recording them, just literally because we like to hear ourselves playing other people's music. Yeah. It's just fun for us to do that.
Because I know you're a big Kiss fan as well. I was just wondering why you didn't decide to put a Kiss track on.
There was never any thought. Yeah. We didn't decide anything. People never understand that. Yeah. We just jam and shit gets done.
Back to your EP, there's a great remix there of Crawl from your previous album, which is a more orchestral mix. Who decided to sort of give it a...
Our producer had that done, Jay Rustin. He just... sadly enough, I couldn't even tell you the name of the dude who did it, which I suppose you could find out because it's probably on the record. But he just had that done and sent it to us, and we thought it was great. So it ended up on the EP, because in the States, Crawl went to radio with Crawl, so Crawl was getting played on the radio. So Crawl ended up on Anthems because it kind of tied it to the album that way. Yeah. So and we just figured we'd put the remix on there because why not?
It gave it quite a dark feel. It actually put in the orchestration on it.
It sounded like it should have been in Lord of the Rings or something to me. I liked it.
Yeah. Because last time we saw Anthrax over in the UK was on tour with Motorhead. You've headlined so many shows in your own right. Was a chance to go out with Motorhead too great a chance to turn down?
Well, yeah, we love those guys. Anytime we get a chance to play with Motorhead is a good day. So, and plus, it was going to put us in front of, once again, it was going to put us in front of bigger audiences at that point in time that we could have done on our own. And and we knew it would be a great tour for us because we really felt like we've already toured with Motorhead before in Europe and the UK, and we felt like their audience already knows us and accepts us as a band, because it could be quite difficult opening for Motorhead.
Yes.
And but we knew that their audience likes Anthrax, and that certainly we would bring in our audience as well, and we felt like that tour, a lot of those shows, the audience was so receptive for us. We felt like we were playing a headline set. It was just such a great tour for us, and if anything, that sets us up for next time to come back and hopefully maybe headline the same venues we played with Motorhead.
Yeah, because you played the City Hall just around the corner. This venue. You've just recently recorded a show that's going to be put out on a DVD in Chile.
Yes.
When can we expect to see that?
I don't know. We need to figure out who's going to edit it first, which we've barely even kind of scratched the surface. So that's probably all going to get done. We're playing a festival outside of Montreal next weekend, and then we're all going to be home, and then probably we'll take a short break, and then we'll start having some phone calls about what we're going to do with the DVD.
And then after that, it'll be back on starting to work on the new album, and then back out on the road again. Yeah. I mean, we're looking to kind of get back into a cyclical thing, kind of like what we were doing back in the old days. If you look back from Spreading the Disease to Among the State of Euphoria, Persistence of Time, it was very much kind of an 18-month to 2-year touring cycle for each record, and then right back in, make another record, and get back out. And of course, that all depends on if you can write songs, which I'm feeling very confident and I'm feeling very optimistic about that, based on where everyone's at mentally right now and the state of the band. And I think the first writing session, which is hopefully going to happen pretty soon, I feel like it's going to be very productive, because I know we all have ideas, and things have been going so well. We're all really itching to make a new record and be able to start a new cycle. So I think I hope it turns around fast. Of course, that could all go to shit, and it could take us forever to write 10 new songs. But I'm guardedly optimistic about it. Yes. So after this tour is over, you got plenty to keep you busy for the next coming months. So no rest till.
No, we're taking off. We're taking off most of the whole month of July, and then we'll be back end of July, August. We do the one UK show. We do Bloodstock here in August, and then we get a break. We'll probably take from mid-August off until sometime in September, and then it'll be full on back in and start working on a record.
Yeah. Scott, it's been an absolute pleasure. Best of luck with your show tonight and with the rest of the toots.
Awesome,
great.
Thank you. Cheers.
You just listened to a Metal Express Radio exclusive interview. Head on over to metalexpressradio.com for our latest rock and metal interviews. And while you're there, check out our web radio, read our reviews, and rock and metal news.